It's always interesting to see life from different angles. But what if you ended up in prison for a crime you didn't commit? Many times, it's just a person in the wrong place at the wrong time. And other times, a person is truly guilty of heinous crimes. Watching what prison does to a person, or what a person can do to a prison, is something that takes viewers by storm through all the turmoil and the calm. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 engaging prison films. Number 1. The Shawshank Redemption. Probably one of the best films made to ever grace the silver screen. It actually bombed when it was released, but since then has been reappraised by the public and cherished for generations. It's also one of the most human stories ever told, with each character having an actually truly singular personality, and showing there is no black and white to evil. That goodness can be found in individuals who have done some heinous things, as well as evil can be hidden by the facade of the morally self-righteous and upstanding. The story begins with the trial of Andy Dufresne, a young hotshot banker being accused of murdering his wife and lover. Shortly thereafter, he is convicted and sentenced to life in prison, to be served out at Shawshank Correctional in upstate Maine. While serving his time, Andy befriends Red, his cellmate, as well as a colorful bunch of other inmates, and offers up assistance to the prison staff, including Warden, with financial situations in exchange for some quality of life improvements. Years later, Andy learns one of the inmates has met the actual murderer of his wife and lover, and wants to use his testimony to get himself an appeal. However, the warden concocts a plan to have this witness executed, so to keep Andy as his little pet banker. This prompts Andy to finally make his big break escape attempt, as Red quotes, crawling through a mile of piss and shit through the prison's drain pipe. And the cherry on top, he delivers a ledger of the warden's schemes to the local newspaper, causing the cops to come knocking down some doors, bringing down the whole corrupt house of cards at Shawshank Penitentiary. Andy then flees to Mexico, and a while later, Red joins him on the beach as they sit and remember their times together in prison. Considering this film came out at the same time as other greats such as Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction, it's easy to see why it was originally overlooked during the award ceremonies, but has since been cemented in the Film Hall of Fame as one of, if not the best, film ever made. Make sure to enjoy this classic over on Tubi, Sling, Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. Number 2. Escape from Alcatraz. There is only one escape that ever happened from Alcatraz, and this film is brilliant with the reenactment of those events. Set in the early 1960s, Frank Morris, played by Clint Eastwood, is sent to Alcatraz due to escaping from other prisons in the country. He befriends a couple of inmates and even reconnects with some old acquaintances from other prisons. The group then spends months digging out tunnels and coming up with a way to have a life raft that they can use, and in the hopes of escaping the inescapable island prison. Most of this film is based on reality, as Frank Morris was a real person who did the unthinkable. I don't know if you ever had the chance to really see Alcatraz, but it's huge, and it doesn't look like they could have gotten away successfully. But that's one of the greatest mysteries to date. In June of 1962, Frank and his accomplices escaped, and with that, the warden at the time was then questioned about the decay and financial struggles of the prison, causing it to shut down in 1963. So for a great story surrounded in mystery, make sure to check this out on Hulu, Fubo, Sling, Prime, Paramount Plus, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 3. The Last Castle. Imagine, you're in the military and against presidential orders, you send your troops on a rescue mission, which costs them 8 soldier lives. This is what Lieutenant General Eugene Irwin, played by Robert Redford, is charged with, and ends up being sentenced to 10 years in a military prison. Well, Irwin has a fan, and Irwin does not like that man. Colonel Winter, played by the late incredible James Gandolfini, has this military artifact collection no soldier should ever have, and treats other inmates horribly. Winter is the prison commandant and seems to have a glorified perception of who he is. Irwin doesn't take kindly to this and begins to plan for a takeover. With many pawns in place making the moves he needs, Irwin is able to sacrifice himself so that Winter gets arrested for murder. The cinematography of this shows just who's in power, making sure to take on the angles just right and add a score to accompany the rise of the prisoners. I'm sure you're going to have a great time watching this over on MGM Plus, Prime, Sling, Roku, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 4, The Green Mile. Another King adaptation brought to you again by the epic filmmaker Frank Darabont. This time, it follows a very specific part of prison, death row. Stephen King has a knack for creating stories that will have you in your feels, and add director Frank Darabont to the mix, and you're bound to have an instant great. Then there's Tom Hanks and Michael Clarke Duncan to star. You really can't go wrong with this film. So we follow Paul, played eloquently by Hanks, as he tells a story to a friend about the time he was a guard on death row during the Great Depression. One particular inmate seems to be something other than just your ordinary human. However, John, played superbly by Duncan, was convicted of killing 2 white girls and is now sentenced to death. Sure, John's a big guy, but really, he's just a giant teddy bear. Other inmates also take a liking to John during his time, even the guards. Well, Paul is plagued with a horrendous UTI, and John healed him using his powers, which makes the guards want to help the warden's wife who's suffering from cancer. Of course, our teddy bear heals the wife, and ultimately, he's still put to death. It really leaves you questioning more about what the guards go through, especially on death row. It's a phenomenal film and deserves a rewatch, so head over to Tubi, Sling, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango to enjoy this one. Number 5, American Me. With a lot of backlash from certain groups, it's no surprise this ended up on our list. It's loosely based off real-life people and situations, so trigger warning with this film. We follow Montoya Santana, who ends up in juvie for various crimes, when he ends up murdering another inmate for assaulting him, which gets him a longer sentence and sent to Folsom State Prison. He ends up being the leader of a gang who is very well known for drugs and murder. After some time, Montoya gets released from prison and tries to fit in with the rapidly changing society he left behind. And falling in love was something he needed. Julie, the woman he loves, doesn't like his violent tendencies, nor his affiliation with the gang. When he's sent back to prison for possession, he renounces his role as leader, which causes his comrades to murder him. Because once you're in, you can never get out. This film is so intense, I found fingernail prints in my hands watching this. So make sure to check this out for yourself over on Google Play, Prime, Fandango, or Apple TV.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope that you're enjoying all of our content. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to ring that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. If you want to support us even further, there are numerous ways. First, check out fatninja.shop, our very own merch store where we sell t-shirts, hoodies, hats, shoes, and more, featuring our logo and other designs. You can also join our Patreon, linked in the video description. Last but not least, we have officially launched the YouTube membership program. At only $4.99 a month, you'll get access to our monthly newsletter featuring reviews, previews, and exclusive behind-the-scenes information about our upcoming projects and videos. You also get a nifty little badge and special emojis that you can use during our upcoming live stream chats. And if you're a member of our Discord channel, you'll get access to a special role which gives you even better access to the Fat Ninja staff and the chance to enter a monthly prize drawing as well as a shout out at the end of our videos. The prize drawings will only begin once we have reached our goal of 50 members. Finally, you'll also be gifted a special coupon code good for 20% off any item from our store. We appreciate each and every one of you and are incredibly thankful for your support. Each new subscriber and member helps us achieve our goals and keeps us motivated to create new content each week. Thanks again. Take care.
Number 6, Sleepers. Barry Levinson wrote, directed, and produced this film, which is based on the novel of the same name by Lorenzo Carcaterra. We follow a group of kids who are a bit problematic, but end up severely injuring a man after stealing a hot dog cart in the 1960s. All the boys were sentenced to about a year in Wilkinson Home for the Boys, which is a juvie center. Upon arrival, things turn from bad to worse, real quick, as the boys are assaulted in so many ways. And one of them wants to come clean about all the abuse, but they all decide to keep their mouths shut. Well, after some time, an altercation happens where one of the old guards is killed by 2 of the boys. They're put on trial, and I'll tell you, you have to watch this all play out. It's ingenious what they do. Add a fantastic cast such as Brad Pitt, Kevin Bacon, Robert De Niro, Minnie Driver, and Dustin Hoffman, you're in for a wild ride. Make sure to check it out over on Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. Number 7, Against the Wall. Over the span of 5 days in 1971, Attica Correctional Facility had some of the most intense riots ever seen in a prison for inhumane conditions, abuse, and cruelty. Officer Michael Smith, played by Kyle MacLachlan, is an expecting father who took this job for the pay. Inmate Jamal X, played by Samuel L. Jackson, is transferring to Attica the same day Smith starts his new job. During the beginning of the film, there's a lot of build-up to what's going to happen, and even tests the morals of Smith. When the riots first begin, Smith and other officers are taken as hostages, but Jamal becomes very protective of him, saying he is a kindred spirit. I really can't spoil too much of this film considering its accuracy to the prison system. There's so many moments where you empathize with Smith and with Jamal, knowing this is just how it is. Make sure to spend some time watching this film over on Max, Hulu, Sling, or Prime. Number 8, In the Name of the Father. Based on the true story of the Guilford Four, this 1993 crime drama brings to life police brutality, injustice, and just how much the law can work against an innocent person. The story starts off in 1974, where there was a terrorist attack, which killed 4 British soldiers, a civilian, and injuring many more. Jerry is in London trying to get the IRA off his dad's back when he decides to steal 700 pounds from a prostitute and use it on drugs when these bombs go off. After some time, he returns to Belfast and is quickly apprehended by the British Army, where they make him stand trial in London. With not a lot of evidence, Jerry and his friends are all sentenced to life in prison. And so is Jerry's father, who commissioned a new lawyer or investigator to look into the case further. This proves to be the father's final wish, as he just wants the boys released. I won't spoil the ending, but trust me, it's worth it. If you haven't seen this yet, I highly suggest it. Or maybe even a rewatch over on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 9, Midnight Express. Loosely based off Billy Hayes' memoir of the same name, we have to remember that sometimes things are brutally over-dramatized, including the depiction of Turks in this film. We follow Billy, played by Brad Davis, who is traveling back to the US from Istanbul. However, he's searched and guards find over 4 pounds of hash on him. He is arrested and sent to prison. During this time, he tries to get a lighter sentence, even offering up the person who sold him the drugs in hopes of being able to go home. That doesn't happen. But during his trial, he's sentenced to 4 years in prison, where he's assaulted, brutally beaten, and ultimately alone through this whole thing. He ends up meeting a couple of other guys who want to escape. And at first, Billy refuses because his sentence is almost up. At least that's what he thought. He finds out that he'll be serving 30 years as the prosecution team finally got the verdict they wanted, keeping Billy in prison for smuggling. How he actually gets away is quite clever and doesn't take too much effort on his part. With a beautiful score and great cinematography, this film is very well received, and a lot of people love this film. I bet you will too when you check it out over on Fubo, Google Play, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 10, Dead Man Walking. In 1995, Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn graced the silver screen together in this film, which was adapted from the 1993 nonfiction book of the same name by Sister Helen Prejean. Matthew Poncelet, played by Penn, is a convicted murderer and rapist who's currently sitting on death row. He has been writing back and forth with Sister Helen, played by Sarandon, when he asks her to come visit, which she does, and then starts to try to help him get his sentence overturned to just life in prison, claiming that his accomplice is the one who committed the crimes. She really befriends him and becomes his spiritual advisor, leading up to his death. This film is stunning in just about every aspect, even winning multiple awards. The ending is also kind of bittersweet in a way, which I won't spoil for you. You just have to check it out for yourself over on Pluto, Fandango, Prime, Google Play, or Apple TV, and let me know what you think. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.